You'll grab.
All right, we're gonna start the meeting.
That's the cord right there that's hanging.
Recording in progress.
All right, good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Mateo County Harbor District Board of Harbor Commissioners regular meeting for January 15th. Commissioner Domrek, could you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
President. Here.
Here.
All right, this is time of the meeting when we have public comments. Is there anybody from the public that would like to make a comment on items not on the agenda? All right, moving on to item D, commissioner comments. Do any of my commissioners wish to make any comments at today's meeting?
President Mateusz, I'd like to, just for the record, that Commissioner Shane Corrali has arrived. He's present.
Just a brief comment. Happy New Year to all. I know our fiscal year isn't until July, but this is a brand new year. I'd like to just thank Jim and his staff and all the people working for the harbor. Phenomenal job last year and looking forward to another great year coming up this year.
I'll say.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a comment. At LAFCO today, there is going to be a review of the MSR for the Harbor District. So if you don't want to come over to Redwood City, it will be broadcast. And you can zoom in if you want to make comments. It starts at 2 and it was supposed to be heard in December and some other stuff came up and so it got postponed to January. So I can't tell you what will happen
I
today.
think it's at 2:30. So, I'm going to echo what George said. Thank you and Happy New Year's to the staff. But also, we had a chance over the holidays to come over to the harbor and it was pretty busy, which was very good to see. And, we were able to get out on the kayak, which was fun too. So I'm just very glad that our small businesses are, supporting our local economy and providing recreation opportunities and dining opportunities for visitors here. So I just want everyone to know that I'm glad we're able to support these businesses.
All right, I just want to recognize how much better our building looks here. We've had a paint job and it brightens things up quite a bit. Makes things look a lot more professional. In addition, a number of us attended a meeting with Ray Mueller's office a day or two ago. A lot of people from the public, nonprofits, there were some electeds there. It was a very pleasant opportunity to get together and just chat with things that were important to us. Moving on to item E on the activity reports. Does the general manager have anything to add besides his report that was in the agenda?
I do. Good morning, President Mateusz, Commissioners. I already mentioned this in my activity report, but would like to repeat it here. Word 2024 was signed into law on January 4th, 2025. And thanks to the remarkable work of Representative Anna Eshoo, the Army Corps now has the authority to conduct the general investigation into the mitigation and prevention of the excessive erosion caused by the construction of Phillip Point breakwaters. And based on the Army Corps' original report back in the 1950s and 60s, the Army Corps did expect the breakwater to cause this damage on the coastline as far south as Felicitos Creek, which is over 1.5 miles from Phillip Point Harbor. This area also includes the coast of Miramar and the condos south of Arroyo de Medio, the bridge in the middle, or the creek in the middle, footbridge. Both of those issues have been in the news lately. Also, As stated in my activity report, WRDA only provides the Corps with authority to conduct the study. It does not require the Corps to conduct the study, nor does it provide funding for the study. Our next step is it will be ensuring the Corps includes this project in the 2025 work plan. Once in the work plan, the Corps can initiate the study, leveraging our network through the California Maritime Affairs and Navigation Conference will be very beneficial in achieving this. We have already connected with and briefed Congressman Sam Liccardo, who is very supportive of this project and wanting to see it come to fruition. This project will take several years. Staff will stay on top of it and keep the board updated.
Are there any additions to the operations report?
Hours are going well, as our Commissioner Jim Crowley suggested that our Blue Point Harbor is especially busy right now. It's great. The beginning of the commercial crab season, with possibly in the water on the second. Where it can start to be full on the fifth. We've got quite a bit of activity there with all the commercial fishing activities and all of the people from around the area coming to purchase live crab off the boats. Appears that everything is going quite smoothly. That is the point. I think going as good as well. I think they feel people after the good job.
Is there anything to add to the administration and finance report?
Morning, President Petrush. Good morning, Commissioners. The administrative staff is extremely busy in the month of January. We're doing tax reform or tax forms, completing tax forms like the W-2s and the 1099s. We're also finalizing the audited financial statements and beginning the development of the budget. So I think, George and Bill, Commissioner Dormerat and Zemke said, thank you to all the staff, and I would like to third that. Thank you to all the staff.
All right, thank you. Brings us to item F on our agenda, the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve, or would anybody like to pull any items off the consent calendar?
Second.
Motion and second. Can we have a roll call on that, please? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Consent calendar or consent agenda has been approved. So that brings us to item G. We're going to start off with the board organization and General Manager Pruitt's item.
Practice of this commission that on the first general meeting of the board in the month of January to nominate and consider someone or to consider commissioners to serve as president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And at this point, I'll turn it over to President Mateusz to begin the nominations.
Our next board president for 2025.
Thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing that there's no other nominations, I believe that we don't need a vote. We can just do it by acclamation.
I would just vote to ratify the motion.
Okay. There's a motion second, so give me a roll call, please. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
All right. Going to bring us to nominations for vice president.
Commissioner Domerat for vice president.
I'll second.
We have a motion second for vice president. Are there any other nominations? Here we have a roll call. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
All right. Who are we going to put up for treasurer for the coming year?
Do you want to be treasurer, Tom? Or secretary too?
Okay, secretary, you can do secretary next.
Well, who wants to do which, guys?
Well, I'll not,
Wait and see if they want to do it.
I'll nominate Bill to be secretary, if he'll do it.
I'll second that nomination. That's good.
We have a roll call on our nomination for secretary. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Nomination for treasurer is this called odd man out.
Well, I'm the
It's
current
called your
treasurer.
I still got two.
So do you want to be, I can be, I don't care.
We need, somebody want to do a nomination?
I'll nominate Commissioner Matoush.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, roll call, please. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Take care of D1.
One more. Turn the page for board alternate to LAFCO.
Oh, well, are you it?
I thought I was, but I was a little surprised. Oh, I am actually no, because it reads to serve as alternate in the president's absence.
You're the representative to the LAFCO board for the district.
Right,
Now you're the alternate on LAFCO.
right.
I can read it, I can read it. I'm on it.
Alternate.
Right.
Do you need
So
me?
I nominate Virginia to be the alternate. For, is it, but this is for
No.
San Mateo County, the.
No,
Oh,
this
this
is
is
for
LAFCO,
the-
and I was thinking about CSDA. Sorry.
Wait, where are you looking at?
Turn the page on the staff report.
G1.
Oh, sorry, I'm right here.
No, you have to go to G1 here.
So I'm the special district's alternate to LAFCO,
Or-
56.
and
or-
Virginia's on LAFCO.
And not
That's-
me, yeah, yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
fine.
I,
Okay.
Right. I would like to nominate, Bill for that. If you're willing.
I can volunteer for that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bill. You're on, yeah.
All right, any other nominations?
Do we need to vote on that?
We
Yes.
should.
So, do we have a roll call on, LAFCO Independent Special District Selection Committee? Aye. 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 Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Concludes our election for the year.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And thank you, everybody.
Item G2 is Pillar Point Harbor lease compliance. General Manager Pruitt.
President Slater Carter, Commissioners. This item has been placed on the agenda at the request of the board. At the December 2024 board meeting, questions were raised by the public concerning the current leasee operating Pillar Point RV Park at Surfers Beach. Concerns were voiced that the lease may be in violation. The leasee may be in violation of their lease with the Harbor District. It is further, it was recommended by a member of the public that the lease, if the lease is in default, the Harbor District should terminate the lease and allow the property to be used as public parking lot. As detailed in the staff report, the leasee is not in violation of their lease, nor have they been. This leasee has been very proactive in complying with the lease and all CDP requirements. One point that was raised as a concern, one point that was raised concerned the requirement for written plans for the bathroom remodel. As a leasee applied for the permit to conduct the remodel, it was noted that the written plans were not required by the city of Half Moon Bay. Because the plans were not required, I met with the leasing and conducted an on-site visit and verbally approved the exterior design. I have the authority to do that, to approve the bathroom remodel without written plans under section 26 of the lease. It's also important to point out that the tenant has been a model tenant under the current lease, and the district received more than $189,000 per year in lease payments. This revenue is critical to the district's operations. And pending any questions, that is my report.
So the lessee is here, and I just want to thank him for being a model lessee and working with the Harbor District, because I think things, at least with the relationship with the Harbor District, I think have improved. So, I mean, I guess there's nothing to do except receive this report, right? So how long did it take you to do this report? I just think that, I mean, it's good to have, you know, like updates and things, but I mean, if this had been just given to us in a general manager's report instead of having to spend that much time to even do a report like this. Because people are gonna complain that there's not gonna be enough parking. Not even sure that the RV park is the real issue rather than the lack of parking. So I don't want staff to be spending time on an issue that we don't really have control over. I mean, this kind of update, which I think is good and is important, could have, and I'm not knocking you, Jim, I mean, just.
The public raised the questions and concerns, and the board asked for an update on it.
I'm just,
So I wanted to emphasize that, again, the leasee's been doing great, model tenant, pays the lease in advance, couldn't be happy.
I'd like to add a comment.
Go ahead.
I want to thank Jim, family, for, putting this on the general agenda and making it as detailed as it is. This Harbor District still is suffering around the, not the edges of the Harbor District, but in the edges of the public's opinion
yeah. that's true.
from years of not responding to the public and not being as transparent perhaps as it should have been or could have been. But that's all history, and viewing it from today's perspective, it's easy to find fault. But nonetheless, I think it's important for the public and for the lessees to have an independent report that they could pull out.
That's true.
And say, look, we're good tenants. And I think that, and we have a good working relationship. I think it's good for the public relations and the public perception of the district. And it's also excellent for anybody our creditors, or if they want to pull out reports on our lessors, they can go, oh, look, they have a good relationship. That's secure. So I appreciate having this done, and I really appreciate the attitude of the district in responding to the public. I think that goes a long, long way towards keeping the naysayers at bay, so to say. And there are going to be other issues coming up. The biggest issue here is the parking, and that's not the Harbor District. It's not the lessor, it's not the lessee, it's Caltrans. And it's the county who are the ones who are not paying attention to this. Coastal designated that Caltrans has to come up with 70 parking spaces. Well, that's not going to be enough, and I've already been watching what people are doing. People are when you need to park. When people park. And I'm noticing how the side of the highway in Montera has all of a sudden been widened by about 2 car lengths. So people can park and get to Montera Beach. And I see that's what's going to be happening. But that's not about this subject. So just thank you for doing such a complete job. I love having stuff I can pull out.
So I just want to clarify, I'm not against these types of reports, but I don't think it's really focused on the right. I mean, I think the report is great, but the issue of parking is not going to go away. That's
No.
my point. And so we should not be, blaming our lessees for things that are completely out of our control. So I'm not against giving more information, but let's just call the issue what the issue really is, and it's a parking issue. And we're going to be blamed for that, or there's going to be a demand for us to do something, and it's really out of our control. So I just wanted to say that, because I don't want staff spinning their wheels on an issue that we have no control over.
That's true, and since we're at the end of this item, I could go on about parking for
Yeah, don't
hours,
go on
but I
about
won't.
parking. We all have the same issues.
We
But thank you, Jim. There's no motion that's needed on this one.
At the last Harbor meeting that I don't believe you attended, I don't know if you had a chance to see it online. The commission did address members of the public and tell them that they're absolutely off base of talking about the conversion to parking. And it was mentioned then, a valuable tenant, and now the Harbor District has a great relationship with you. And we attempted to steer the public in the right direction.
I don't know, let's see for we, I'm the only one. I never had this. Commissioners before that, I worked with the staff. And, now, of course, my family is gonna be taken over and that's, they come right behind me. But, there's always somebody wants to throw a rock here and there. I'm saying, oh, we'd like to have this and that. Difference here is, I deal with very sensitive situation when we run the food lot. Day in, day out, we have environmental law and we have other stuff, we like them, we draw them. Same time, we have this one here, that, somebody say something. I just like to be informed beforehand, so we can with the commissioner. Yeah. Pay, personally, if I'm a landlord, I do pay, which I am at several different buildings, and I take my, I depend. And if the person has a question or something that's not being addressed, by from our side, but we like. Okay, this is what's going on, so it's, we get that what we. Something like this what happened. This on the agenda and we're.
Thank you,
It's
and thank you for
cute.
coming.
And the Ocean Science Center Ad Hoc Committee, Commissioner Domerat.
Thank you very much, President Mateusz. The Ocean Science Committee is full at work. We've been busy and active, and we've been generating interest all over the county from many different sources. Starting in December, we put out a survey to find out kind of a temperature measurement of the interest of various kinds of entities, whether it be the community, research entities, or what we have. So that is still ongoing, and I believe we will be reporting out the result of that survey at our next meeting in February. The Lighted Boat Festival, we had a table there, and I manned the table, and we had a lot of a lot of people very, very much interested in what we're thinking about and how they can participate from other nonprofits and so forth. So that is going forward. Also, a really important one is that the County of San Mateo Community College System reached out to us. And we have a meeting with them next week on the 23rd to talk about their interests, our interests. And we met this morning to talk about how we want that to lay out. But I think that's very exciting because that would be a major player in at least the research and education of our high school students and our community college students, getting them ready for college and so forth. So I think it's very exciting and we continue to move forward. For the short term, over the next 2-3 months, we are discussing the possibility of holding 2 facilitated workshops. One may be during the week that would attract more of the local, county, state, federal organizations that may have interest. And the other one, a proposal would be to hold it during a Saturday session where the community and the members of the community and parents and high school members can attend and kind of express their interest of where we want to go. So that's kind of our short-term plan. And without any questions from any of the commissioners or.
Jim, I'm glad that the Daily Journal did the article about this. Because that's how one of the community college district's trustees reached out to me. And so I forwarded all of that to Jim, which is fantastic because he saw and I mean, we've been friends for a long time, but he saw the article. So Jim, I'm glad.
I talked with the journal quite a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, so we didn't issue a press release, but okay, so they may have seen this.
They track our board meetings. We've had it on our agenda before, and I talked to the reporter about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, that was good, a good foundational publicity.
And I think our plan is we're re-looking at our own website. I know there's been some ideas for a website redesign, and I'd like to see, this concept and kind of featured on that website, which we'll do. So those are all exciting things coming up.
I just thank you and Catherine for working on this. I'm just so happy that in this place right now and with the Harbor District and where we are, that we can even have this type of conversation or look at this opportunity.
On the same item, I'm in the harbor quite a bit and people have reached out to me about this. We have constituents that are sensitive to the Harbor District putting money in this project with all the impending capital improvement items that we have. And I've tried to consistently reassure them that we're looking at donations and possibly our nonprofit. So we do have to start looking at our philanthropic partners because it does take Harbor District time and staff to start having all these different meetings. I do want to be sensitive on the part of people that are questioning this.
And I will just kind of add my point, and this has been a really active committee, and I think that's due in large part to the energy that George and Catherine have thrown into this effort, and I'm amazed at the amount of success it's had so far, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item G4. San Francisco Peninsula Magazine ad. Our manager Pruitt.
President Slater Carter, Commissioners, I was approached by Wanderlust Content Studios with respect to advertising in the San Francisco Peninsula Magazine. The magazine will be the official publication for the San Francisco Peninsula. I believe it'll be beneficial for the district to take out a 2-page ad in this magazine. And then Nell's going to bring up an example. It's very similar to this magazine. It'll be a glossy magazine. Go ahead and change the page now. And it's basically an advertisement for San Mateo County. It'll be placed in all local hotels and airport and online. So if you Google visit San Mateo County, this will come up when it's done. And give people visiting San Mateo County ideas on where to go and what to do. It'll also be at travel conventions, the world's largest travel convention in Chicago every year. And will be a very nice magazine. So Napa Valleys has done very well. And then Melody goes through this. Go ahead and bring up the 2-page. The 2-page one, I printed out a small version in front of you. And then Melody will bring it up online. That's an idea on how we can put together one for the San Mateo County Harbor District, where we can highlight everything that we do from the beaches, the restaurants, the RV park, the shops, activities and opportunities like kayaking and fishing and charter boats. And then if we wanted to, it'd be very easy to incorporate 1 or 2 things from Oyster Point Marina itself. The cost of the ad would be $6,000 for the 2-page ad. We would supply the photos and work on some of the verbiage. They would do complete layout. And then they'll be putting it electronic version so we can use it again. We can share the magazine on our website and we can send it out to whoever the district would like to send that link out to. But $6,000 for the first year. I think it'll be a great idea for the district to be able to do this and be able to show people be in the market and outside our market what we have to offer here on the coast side. Any questions? That's my report and my recommendation.
So, so this is for a year. How often do they update that magazine, and do we get an opportunity to update during that year?
It's updated annually.
Okay, so once a year, okay.
Once a year. That was my question.
It's kind of like the visitor bureaus. They're working with
Okay.
Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce and everybody else. So this will just be highlight Pillar Point Harbor and the coast side.
Well, thank you.
So not Oyster Point?
It can include Oyster Point if we like.
If we're gonna, okay.
For sure.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And hopefully next year we do Coyote Point.
Well, okay, so I thought this was a little expensive, but I'm actually okay with it. Because I think it's important to support tourism in general for the county as an economic development opportunity, but also, if we're gonna feature the Harbor District, and I think we have to feature, or, put something in there about Oyster Point.
You can.
But at the same time, most of the thing sounds like the focus should be on the harbor. And I'm looking at this as something that we're also providing our tenants too. An opportunity for them to
I talked to
market
them yesterday.
themselves. So what was the feedback from them?
They're very excited.
Okay. So I view this as a win-win for everybody. But I think it's less so for us than for our tenants, because I think even though we're always looking for publicity, to market the harbor. I mean, I don't know how much of a reach this is going to go and to bring people in. I mean, I hope it does. I think that it's good for our tenants to be featured too, because I think some people don't even realize we have tenants.
Right.
I have a question. How are we going to track any results from
Yeah,
that?
and what are the benchmarks?
Yeah.
What are the benchmarks and how do you?
I don't know, but I can look at. And
I
Do they
would-
have that data for their other?
I have to ask them.
Well, it's tricky. I was for about 5 years on the advertising board for McDonald's for the Bay Area region. And one of the things that was fascinating was to see how advertising and sales and promotion stuff track. And I think we should ask them how they would track it. And I don't know if there's a way to figure out how we either increased, this has been influential in increasing the traffic to Oyster Point and or Princeton, but we need to get a sense of where these, at least where these magazines are being distributed. How many issues are being distributed with our material in it? Those kinds of numbers. I think this is a really good start. And it's something that the Harbor District is doing. I would love to see the businesses in Princeton start their own business association so they could pick up on their own end. Next door is nice for local businesses, but not sure how much that drives traffic.
Probably some traffic, they mentioned that people mention the restaurant and Maverick Surf Shop on next door. And it brings people from outside this region, so they're very active on next door to get that. And this will be in electronic format, so it can be emailed to everybody, it'll be emailed to travel agents all around. And we get a lot of international visitors through the summer. And this will be in those international travel with the travel agents that bring people over. I want to make, when people think buying crab off the boat, the only thing you see on the news is Fisherman's Wharf, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Very rarely, they show Pillar Point, but they say
They don't say
Pillar
that.
Point as the B-roll, but they always say Fisherman's Wharf. So I'd like to get, when you say buy crab off the boat in the Bay Area, the first thing that comes to mind is Pillar Point. And this is kind of pushing that out there. And also by halibut and salmon off the boats. And a lot of people don't know what we do here, the amount of fish that comes over the dock. And we have kayak rentals. A lot of people don't know about the restaurants.
Right.
So we're working on with the restaurants to get more advertisement up to let people know that we're down here. And part of our, as our mission statement says, is economically viable harbor. And this is our effort to do, my effort or recommendation to do.
I'd like to see us, I think this is a great start, and I'd like to see us expand on this as if it's successful. I think one of the things you might want to mention, if our biggest competitor is San Francisco, we can always say we have parking.
I'll be highlighted.
I think
Free
that's-
parking.
Because it's something some of us have taken for granted for a long time, but anymore, cities and communities are going, oh no, just take the bus. Well, nobody wants to take the bus, and so free parking is a real plus.
We didn't have any parking on opening day for crab season at the park on Highway 1.
Jim, can I ask a quick question?
Maybe we should get our bulldozers. We cleared Highway 1 a little
The
bit.
other thing we need is a Ghirardelli chocolate shop, and then we'd be in good.
Well, they're actually,
So what had
There-
you,
there's a. Hey, we should ask them if they'd like to expand up here.
I guess I have a question. Is there any, okay, maybe we do this for a year, we see what it generates, but maybe after that, is there any thought about like cost sharing with our VCs? I mean, like a small percentage, because they're getting the advertisement, but we don't know if it's gonna work, so I don't know, maybe the first year we cover that cost. But maybe if we show, because the more people that come and the more people that go to our leasees, the. So it's kind of, I'm not sure if it's not that much. Maybe after a year or two, if it generates a lot of income,
Yes.
yes. There'd be some ideas of that, okay.
In addition to the cost sharing with the existing people, we have way too many charter boats to list every single one. And then there's a select group of fishermen that sell off the boat. There's a lot that don't sell off the boat. So how do you promote those companies? And how do you promote the people selling fish at the end of the pier? And the other thing, whenever they talk about buying produce off the boat, San Francisco only recently developed that after our model had been in existence for 10 or 15 years. So we have to position ourselves as the people that started it all.
Jim, quick question. Do we know, I was reading their distribution strategy. Do we know how many copies they're actually gonna print? It says that fulfillment audience requests thousands of copies per year. I mean, how many copies?
There'll be some hard copies sent out. A lot of it will be most of it will be electronic. But there'll be an option, if you want a hard copy or want hard copies, you can simply order them and they'll ship them to you.
How many will they be printing?
I can find that out for you.
Yeah, because, I mean, the digital piece, I guess there's a lot, there's work and everything and maintenance and management and all of that. But that's not really the cost. It's the printing and the.
And we'll request several copies.
That's the cost. And how many advertisers do they have at this level? The $6,000 premium to.
I don't know. I didn't ask what their other business was.
Can we find, just curious if we can find out what that is? I mean, if you look at the,
In conjunction with what Commissioner Slater Carter said, couponing is a good way to measure your effectiveness. And if you have something to actually download and bring in to one of the establishments, say, okay, this is what it got.
yeah. My problem is I don't know, I haven't seen one of these magazines. I
Oh,
mean,
I read them all the time, I have to admit.
for the San Francisco, this
I,
one.
I read for the Napa, for Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about for our county. I've seen the other ones like at Napa or even
Right.
the cities.
Just that they haven't developed one for.
This is the first
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Right, that was my understanding is they're going
Well, 'cause
after
they-
San Mateo County now.
Well,
It
so
would be
this-
interesting to see what other advertisers are in it, but.
I can ask.
well, so this is the organization, I think we, like a few years ago, I think this is John Hutar's organization, right? Yeah, this is the former visitor bureau
Right.
organization, yeah.
Silicon Valley's too.
Yeah, yeah, but mainly focused on here. So they're trying to rebrand themselves to deal with Peninsula or to help Peninsula our Peninsula businesses. And they're based out of, I think, Burlingame. And they do a really good job in general. And they have, because during COVID, they reached out to me, looking at the Farm Bureau and the Harbor District. And, they're involved with the event for As Fresh as It Gets with the Farm Bureau. So they're really trying to make an effort. So, I mean, I'm glad that we can support them, but I really want to see, kind of track the success for our businesses too.
I think that brings us back down to, does somebody wish to make a motion here?
I'll make the
Move.
motion.
I'll, I'll move to approve $6,000 for the Platinum Package with an additional page for the 2025 San Francisco Peninsula Magazine.
Second that.
We have a motion and second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to item G5. So Army Corps Cap Base 111 Princeton Shoreline Project and
Excuse me. President Slater Carter has been documented and accepted fact that the breakwater has caused damage to the shoreline at Princeton within Pillow Point Harbor. The damage was in the form of excessive coastal erosion that eliminated the beach and the dunes that protected Princeton from flooding. To mitigate the damage caused by the breakwater and prevent future damage, the Harbor District requested the assistance of the Army Corps of Engineers under the Continuing Authority Program, Section 111. We did that a few years ago. In response to our letter, the Corps conducted an initial study to determine the cost of the potential project to address the erosion and whether it would be equal to or less than or greater than the potential benefits gained from completing the project. At the end of the study, the cost benefit analysis supported undertaking the project to mitigate and prevent further damage to the Princeton shoreline. We are now entering the feasibility stage and environmental assessment. In this phase, several potential solutions will be considered and developed, and the Harbor District and the public will have input in this phase. Before the Corps can begin the phase, the Harbor District must sign several documents and agree to those documents. And one is the management plan. Management plan's interest is drafted, but it can be amended throughout the whole process to meet the requirements of both the Corps and the district. The cost sharing agreement, which includes the non-federal sponsor self-certification of financial capability, the certificate of regarding lobbying, we will not be able to lobby for this, and certificate of authority, be able to enter into the agreement. Project partnership. In the package and attached to the staff report. The Corps' Office of General Counsel went back to the original construction of the breakwater and worked on what the original cost share the district did in building that breakwater. And based on their records, they came up with 8.4% for the cost share of building the original wall. That same percentage is applied to this process. This percentage was calculated, again, based on the original project. For the feasibility phase, which is 24 months, the Harbor District, based on the 8.4%, will have a contribute $105,000 per fiscal year for 2 years. It's not certain how expensive the D&I phase will be or how long it will take, but assuming the maximum of 10 million expended over 3 years, the district would have to the district will be responsible for approximately $280,000 per fiscal year over the course of the D&I 3-year phase. Additional costs may include the purchase of the submerged properties off Princeton, as there are several plots of land that are now underwater, but are still owned by private parties. The market value of these properties has not been determined. Staff is seeking board guidance on whether or not to proceed with this project to include signing the cost share agreement, the non-federal sponsor self-certification of financial capability, the certification regarding lobbying, and the certificate of authority. Pending any questions, that is my report.
Commissioners.
I have a comment.
Okay.
So Jim, thanks a lot for working on this and working with, basically Anna's office. And I just want to say that the relationships that we've developed to, continue this kind of conversation or this kind of project is really important. So going to the CMAC meeting in Washington is really beneficial to the Harbor District when we can have the face-to-face meeting. I'm very glad that we have a good relationship with Congressman Liccardo, but I think it also is good for us to hear what other ports and harbors in California are going through, right, and kind of work together as a group to lobby, why they should be supported. So thanks for leading the charge on all of this, Jim.
I'd like to make a motion that we direct staff to, that we should cost share the requirement, and we should fund up as necessary of the $210,000 for 2 fiscal years. I think this is a great idea.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? We have a roll call, please.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, moving on to item G6, the LAFCO update. And this is General Manager Pruitt's item.
Good morning again. This is this was already mentioned earlier that the LAFCO sphere of influence determination and MSR draft report is being considered by LAFCO this afternoon at their meeting. However, they first brought it to AFCO on their agenda in November. And as mentioned earlier, it was moved to the January meeting. The district, however, took that opportunity to review the draft plan in detail and make several recommended changes to the draft report. I'm very happy to report that LAFCO staff considered our input and made a majority of the changes that we recommended. However, there were some changes in that report that they did not include. And my staff report goes through each one, but I just want to highlight throughout the report, we recommended that they add the fact that the district does have the authority and power to operate all ports in the county, to include County Point Marina, San Carlos Airport, Half Moon Bay Airport, and add those to the district portfolio. They chose not to include that recommendation in the report. We recommended that when they discussed the district boundaries, while they're the same as San Mateo County, they would say, their report says they're limited to 2 locations. We recommended the words limited to 2 countywide serving locations, and they rejected the countywide serving location recommendation. A few others were just adding some additional language to the report. We also recommended that in their discussion about Oceanside, Pillow Point Harbor, and Bayside, Oyster Point Marina, search and rescue requirements are drastically different. And we wanted to add the paragraph, the Harbor Patrol at Oyster Point Marina is a critical part of the safety network on the bay. They work closely with the U.S. Coast Guard and several other local agencies and marinas when responding to emergency calls. On the San Mateo Pacific Coast, the San Mateo County Harbor Patrol is the only public agency providing immediate on-water rescue capabilities. The Pillar Point Harbor Patrol works closely with the Sheriff's Office, CAL FIRE, Coastside Fire, City of Half Moon Bay, State Lifeguard, and the U.S. Coast Guard in providing this capability. But as stated above, is the only agency that provides immediate waterside response. They rejected the idea of placing that in the MSR. The rest were changed for simple word suggestions.
Commissioners' comments?
Overall, I just want to say the report, this LAFCO report is extremely positive towards the district, makes a lot of positive comments and documents the improvements that the San Mateo County Harbor District has gone through with respect to the previous MSR, which was extremely negative. That's my report.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be sitting in a decision-making seat today or in the audience seat, but I will make it a point in either case to get some of these points into the record for future consideration. I think this is a fabulous report, and congratulations to staff and the board for turning what was a dysfunctional organization into a great team that's serving the county and the public.
Very dismayed at LAFCO not approving some of our requested changes. The district has proven that its maintenance, its capital improvements, its visions of the future far exceed that by San Mateo County. I look at Half Moon Bay Airport and the buildings falling down and the lack of a repair plan there. I look at Coyote Point's future with the county, and I say this could seriously benefit being taken over by the Harbor District. So I was a little bit surprised and shocked at the number of things that LAFCO didn't approve. and wondered why they were so backwards thinking. That was just my opinion. Oh,
I didn't get any specific feedback on why they accepted some and did not accept others. They did make a one-line mention that that the San Mateo County Harbor District did mention their interest in taking over Coyote Point and all ports in the harbor or in the county, but it was just a single sentence.
Yeah, and I think, you may have mentioned that at the last meeting too, just, that this is what we were looking forward to today.
Our response was, as discussed before, was by adding all those to our umbrella of responsibilities, we would gain the economy of scale also.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just wondering if
But no, I didn't get feedback. Yeah, they took most of them. Yes. Yes. Just be careful with Brown Act issues.
Couch it around, the LAFCO report should have included, which is public record.
Well, let me double check, but I think it's a notice meeting of LAFCO. The board could participate, but let me just double check over one.
I'm gonna be there, but in a different capacity.
I'm definitely.
Well, he has another.
Not
So
the-
will there be 3 members then?
Catherine, I think, is going as
I'm-
the alternate.
I'm the alternate on LAFCO. I'm going to be discussing,
Right.
I'm going to be discussing LAFCO issues vis-a-vis this district.
One might be in a line, well, 2 of them.
I mean,
All right.
it's, LAFCO's always fun.
Okay, so I believe that staff has adequate direction on item G6. Moving on to item H, closed session. So we have 2 closed session items to consider. So we're gonna close this meeting at 10:58 and go into closed session.
Recording stopped.
And then we're gonna come
Right,
back.
exactly. Back in regular session, there's nothing to report out of closed session. We're on discussion item I1. And we have a change to Amendment 4. And basically, we're striking 1.1 and A, is that correct?
Right, and Mr. President, when you're going to consider the amendment number 4 to to general manager contract, but you're gonna consider it without section 1.1. So, all you will be doing is considering section 1.2, which is an amendment to provide a $3,000 one-time housing allowance for, the calendar year 2025.
Motion on that?
Um,
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, can we have a roll call on that, please?
Yes.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that basically also incorporates item I2. Therefore, do we have any future agenda items?
I think you need to take a motion and approve item.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the amended salary schedule to include the increase in the general manager's salary pursuant to the amendment to the employment contract that we just adopted.
I'll second.
Okay, can we have a roll call on that? Item I2, please.
Yes.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And now we're at item J on the agenda, future agenda items. Do any of the commissioners wish to present an item for a future agenda? Silence is deafening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
yeah,
For the profession we were asking about there is a Brown Act that allows the majority of the board to participate in a meeting of another legislative body that's been duly noticed, as long as, of course, the members do not have a discussion among themselves.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Actually, I would like
Oh, yes.
to make a motion to adjourn in honor and in memory of Ed Carter, Catherine's husband, who left us about a month or so ago. Ed was a veteran and a big fan of the Harbor District and cared about it so much that he's been keeping tabs on us for 40 years. And, I think the most important role that he played is being Catherine's husband and the support that he's given to her as a commissioner, but also to our commission and staff as a whole. So I'd like to adjourn this meeting in honor and memory of Ed.
Well, in addition, Ed was a banker and he financed many of the commercial fishing operations, some of which still exist in the harbor today.
Still got his notes.
I'll second that motion. And roll call on that motion.
Yes.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, do we need a separate motion to adjourn or we adjourn?
no, we're adjourned.
Okay.
Okay.
Recording stopped.